Hola, hola. What do I got today? So we got these two today, which are Three Oysters Marine Green, so another Three Oysters Ink, and Noodler's Burgundy. Need to find my swabs. This is another case of I swabbed these so long ago. I know where Burgundy is because there's only one spot that can hang out, but I'm like, I don't remember if marine green was on the green end or on the blue end of something mariney, and that's going to influence which coloring it's in. I think it's in the other one. I want to say it was more green. There it is. I found it. Losing a lot of... There's a definite... It looks more blue on the camera than it is IRL. I have it smack between Roaring Clear Smartmageddon and Diatramentus Petrol, but it's also close to Emerald of Chivor, just a tad touch more green. But yeah, to give you an idea of maybe a more accurate color swab. Because for some reason this isn't picking up things all the ways. It's not picking up the green component. Also warning, I have a colonoscopy tomorrow for my issues that landed me in the hospital 2 weeks ago to figure out what exactly is my problem. And as such, I have started the prep for said colonoscopy, which might involve me running to the bathroom about 5 million times during this stream. So this might be a bathroom heavy stream. I was just like staring at the pen. Okay, so let's get this going. Probably not squirt air into the full vial. That would be a terrible idea, causing mucho destruction. Not a very full fill. Technically, I don't need that much to write the reviews, but it makes me feel better. I feel like when you don't get a full fill in a converter, somehow it like affects the flow. It probably it doesn't. Like physics says it doesn't, but psychologically, I feel like it does. So it makes me feel better to get a full fill on a converter, even though it's totally not necessary in this situation. This is also a damn good match for this pen. I'm just looking over here and I'm like, oh boy, that's like pretty exact. I'm just also like, because this happened last week with like one of them as well, I think, and the week before. And I'm like, so my mom picked out these different samples for me as a Christmas present from a list I gave her, and she clearly just like very much liked this shade of like green blue. I mean, I had a few of them on there, but it was like there were other things she could have picked. Okay. It is time. Oh, I should probably sharpen my pencil. That hasn't been sharpened in a while. That was making the desk shake way too much, so I moved it over. I'm also wondering where the hell my little rhodia pad went. Because I'm just looked back at the desk at the spot where it should be, and it's not there. Oh, there it is. It fell down into the drawer that's immediately below it. I was concerned. I was like, where? That shouldn't just vanish into nowhere. Okay. So we're at new set, new page. Okie dokie. So the Fun Times article that I am going to be transcribing today is a front page article from the Atlanta Journal-Constitution about how Pepsi is sponsoring the Super Bowl, which is taking place in Atlanta, which is the world headquarters location for Coca-Cola. And Pepsi, because they are sponsoring the Super Bowl, is blanketing the town in advertisements for Pepsi. Like, in front of Coca-Cola buildings. And I am highly amused by this. Accordingly, the newspaper does call it an indignity that Pepsi dare do this in Atlanta. Atlanta's very, very prideful of the fact that Coke is here. So far on the actual ink, it's really nice. Really good flow. Joy to use in a dry pen, which means it's probably going to only be more pleasant to use in the wetter pens. Though sometimes you get combinations where you have a gushing ink and a gushing pen and it's just too much. So we'll see. But as for now, we're really enjoying this. Like, the part that amuses me most about this is not just that Pepsi is blanketing the town in Pepsi ads for the Super Bowl. It's that they're doing it, like, purposely right in front of Coke buildings. Like, just right, blatantly right there. And it's just like, holy shit. So, was a joy to use in the regular writer, as I expected. Back to talking about inks a little bit. Holy shit. So, because Pepsi is the sponsor of the Super Bowl, not Coke, even though all the, like, soda machines and like vending machines and fountain machines in like the football stadium are Coke machines. Like Coke branding is like in the plastic of the machine. It's not just a sticker. They're covering up the Coke logos with Pepsi logos for the actual Super Bowl game during the game. Like, holy shit. And then putting Pepsi products in the Coke machines. This is just like, oh my god, beverage wars taken up to the max. Bottled Cokes will be banned inside. Oh my god. This is just like super escalation in like brand wars. I don't know if this is better or worse than, well, okay, pause. Looking at the inks. The ink is actually a lot darker in the wet pen, which I mean happens with some inks, but sometimes it's super light in the dry pen, then looks the same in the regular and the wet pen. But yeah, this is a lot, it looks a lot more like the swab in the dry and regular pens, but it's like the really dark parts of the swab in the wet pen. And you got some shading in the drier pens that you just don't have any shading at all in the wet pen. It's just like, nope, too wet. You get all dark. Okay. Oh, right. So, I forgot. I actually finished this Kikuyo book, so I need to get a new notebook out of the drawer. I bought a 5-pack of these, so I have enough. But, ooh, excitement. I should bring this to like a pen show or something so people can flip through all the different reviews, since it's such a thin book. It's so easy to put in my bag. Yay, new one. Like I said, bought a 5-pack. They're like it's like maybe like $15, less than $15 to get a 5-pack of these. So it's like $3 a notebook, and it's great paper. This is why I love Kikuyo. Cheap and good. I think you can only buy these as 5-packs, though, which is the downside. Like this specific model of notebook. Like you can buy the campus paper in individual notebooks, but it's fatter notebooks that are... And like I don't think you can get like the glue bound in... Like this thin glue bound other than in 5-packs. You might be able to other places, but I know on Jet Pens, I think they only have the 5-packs. So yeah, what was I saying? Oh yes, this beverage war. It's like all of a sudden there was a escalation in like major brand beefs. Like you got this between Coke and Pepsi, and then I don't know if you saw or heard of like a couple months ago, a month or two ago, in like December, I think. Burger King on their app released a location-based coupon that if you sat in a McDonald's parking lot and ordered a Whopper from the Burger King app, you could get that Whopper for 1 cent. And it was just like, holy shit. Okay, so you'll still be able to buy fountain Coca-Cola at Mercedes-Benz Stadium during the Super Bowl, but it will be in Super Bowl branded cups that say Pepsi on them, but you will be drinking Coke. Which, honestly, I think a lot of people will end up doing because there's a fierce brand loyalty to Coke here in Atlanta. Like, among the population. So when you buy bottled water, it will be Coke brand Dasani bottled water, but the labels will have been stripped off. I just, like, the degree of, like, brand beef pettiness is just like, holy shit. Okay, I need to go to a new page to continue the rest of the article. There we are. Load. Oh, apparently Coke isn't the only one being slighted in terms of like head companies headquartered here, but getting shafted by the Super Bowl. Let's read on and figure out who else is suffering these indignities. Okay, so apparently a lot of like the local like corporate headquarters like helped the city like prep and like put this bid together for the Super Bowl to host it here, but they didn't end up being actual sponsors of the Super Bowl, so they can't, even though they put in all this effort, they don't have like the authority to do any marketing within the Super Bowl itself. Which is just like juicily ironic. It's just like so good. In just like I said, petty brand war sense. I'm still amazed at how blue this ink looks on the actual screen. Because it's got like a very heavy green component to it. Like it's much more like a straight up like a blue green. I wouldn't say a teal because in my head teal is much more blue, but this is like a blue green. When you think of blue green like the crayon, that's the color this is. And the flow is just delicious. Like this is a real joy of an ink to use in all these pens. Like it's not too wet. Like it's wet that it's enjoyable, but it's not like so wet that it's like too much. Because I've done a couple inks where it's just too much in a wet pen. It's just like nope, can't even. But this is nice. It's darker in the wet pen. because the flow's so good. But it's not like unpleasant to use. Yeah, that's just gorgeous. I'm enjoying this much better than the Dun Chong or whatever the red one was the last week. Like I said, that shade of red was weird to me. It didn't fill my stringent red requirements, but this is real pretty. Shitty paper time. So we shall see how this performs. This is always a fun, like, lotto, what will it do part of these reviews. You can also tell how much better I'm feeling between this week and last week. Like last week, I was a few days out of the hospital and feeling miles better than I did before I went to the hospital. But a week into actually having proper medical treatment and medication, it's just like, whoa, my handwriting's so much steadier. I can do a straight line. It's not a challenge. Imagine that. There are a lot more, even more companies based in Atlanta than I thought there were. Like, apparently Holiday Inn's parent company is based here, and Sarta Simmons, the mattress company, is based here. For all companies that are based here, headquartered here, and this is where Super Bowl is playing, but we have FedEx, McDonald's, Ford, Marriott, and Sleep Number, all like rivals in those industries, are sponsoring the Super Bowl. And it's just like, this is insane in the best way. Just like so amusing. It's like maybe they wanted, like the rival companies were like, this is our chance to get some sort of advertising in Atlanta. Normally we're shut out of that market. Oh, FedEx just upped. FedEx not only is plastering their vans with Super Bowl images because they're a sponsor, and I'm like, okay, fair, but they are also providing free admission to the National Center for Human Rights, for Civil and Human Rights on Saturday before the game, so people can be in town for the weekend and tourist and go to this museum for free on FedEx, basically the major rival of UPS, and UPS is based in Atlanta. I'm just like, the corporate marketing espionage. Holy crap. Okay, so let's look at what this looks like. Feathering. Not bad in the dry pen. Tolerable in the regular pen. Bad in the wet pen as normal. As expected. Not bad. This is pretty standard. Usually the wet pen's terrible, but it actually looks decently usable. Like if you have to do terrible paper in a dry and wet pen. Like, don't get me wrong, there's bleed through on all of them, but it's like, it'll work. You'll be able to read what you write on the back of the page if you write on both sides. Unlike with some other ones where it's just like, well, you can't even use the other side because it's basically bled completely through on both sides. Okie. Okay, so now we're gonna empty everything and then go clean pens. Okay, and then I gotta put this one in a box. Hopefully I'm not running out of room in the boxes. Cool, I do have enough room. I barely have enough room. I need to get another box. Or actually use up more samples. Or give away samples or something. I don't know. Something needs to happen. Probably what will happen is I will buy another box. Okay, so I'm gonna go clean pens. Hola, hola, I am back. Okay, so we're done with this one. The next one we were gonna do is Noodler's Burgundy, which is in the other coloring. At least I think it's in here. It should be in here. There it is. Look how gorgeous that is. That's just, holy shit. Like, I saw someone had a swab of that and I was like, do want. It's similar to Black Swan and Australian Roses, but it's a more, it's deeper somehow. And it seems more like you could see the streakiness almost in my swatch of Black Swan and Australian Roses. I found it does that. This is just like, bam. And it's also kind of similar to Lavender Black, but without the iron gallness. I also clearly had an incident with my Lavender Black swabbing. So this is one of my few swabs that's like really not accurate. So yeah. This swabbed really nicely, so I'm looking forward to, usually things that swab really nicely end up just performing really well. So I'm looking forward to seeing how this actually writes. And also continuing our fun investigation of how exactly Atlanta companies got screwed when it came to Super Bowl sponsorship. Wait for that capillary action. Like, I put the pens and everything after I clean them into this thing with a paper towel in it, which works okay, especially like overnight. But if I want to do it fast like this, or if I'm like real quick swapping out colors, I need to like press the paper towel to the nib to really draw out the ink fairly quickly. Or the ink, the extra water, because otherwise I dilute the ink and that defeats the point. Like, why would I want to dilute the ink? That feed all dry. Cool. Here's one. There we go. Set that off to the side, and now we're ready to fill. I was sitting here filling this and thinking, I haven't played, like, I played Breath of the Wild recently, but I haven't streamed it recently. I was going to the other day, but then shit came up that I had to deal with. I'm like, I should stream that again. That would be a good idea. I enjoyed doing that. Though I had an idea of like, maybe I can use my laptop as a monitor to stream Breath of the Wild, because if you watched my Breath of the Wild stream last time, I basically had to hook it up to my laptop to stream, and my laptop is not built for that. So it was a struggle bus stream, just because the laptop like was barely holding on to life while doing it. So I was like, maybe I can like have my laptop as a monitor, like in front of my desktop, which can actually handle streaming clearly. But nope, doesn't have the ports for that. So I either need to like move my TV onto my desk. Like, I have a big like U-shaped desk, so I have the room for that while I stream, which sounds like a recipe for me breaking my TV. Or like get a little mini TV screen or something to throw up here, but that's like costs money when I already have the TV screen. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. Or like then or move my computer. It's just the problem is the TV and the computer are at very opposing ends of the apartment, which makes streaming like that difficult. Okay, so now we got everything filled. Hello, Hipponoto. It's amazing how much more pleasant it's like I hit like the halfway point almost, or like I'm approaching the halfway point in the Hipponoto, and it's just all of a sudden got so much more pleasant to use because my hand wasn't like miles above the desk anymore. This has taught me that thick books like this are not for me. So I will not be getting another Hipponoto after I finish it, just because it's too thick for me. And it's going to take a while to get through this anyway. Who knows? Maybe by the time I get through the Hipponoto, Masubi will have released their diary covers and inserts. And so then I'll switch to, I'm like, oh, excuse to buy a Masubi. That'll get used and loved. Right now they're blank, though, and they're also hella expensive. For good reason they're hella expensive, because they're beautiful handmade books. But, I've got enough Tomoe River right here. Do not need a Masubi. I would definitely consider replacing one of these, the Hipponoto with Masubi, just because I love their cause and everything. But I've got a lot of Hipponoto to get through before then. So this is definitely drier than the last ink, noticeably drier. It's still not unpleasant to use in the dry pen. It's fine to use in the dry pen. It's just the other ink was so wet. It was really pleasant. This is just okay, this is more back to normal, degree of wetness, if you will. Supposedly FedEx isn't doing anything differently just because UPS happens to be based here, but do you really believe them? Yeah, I probably do. FedEx and UPS don't quite have, I don't think, the vicious rivalry that like Coke and Pepsi or McDonald's and Burger King do. At least it doesn't strike me that way. I don't know. I'm not in the shipping world. Plus, I'm team U.S. Postal Service anyway when it comes to both of those. UPS tends to be better than FedEx for me, but Postal Service has always been the best by far. Again, real pleasant, like standard to use in a regular pen. This seems like a middle of the road ink, not particularly wet, not particularly dry, just good ink. A lot of Noodler's inks, Noodler's inks can get bonkers, but they're standard inks that aren't like portrayed to have any crazy properties or anything. Just like inks that are colors. I found those tend to be real good performers. I have a bottle of Noodler's Black that I use. That's my like lab ink because it's so solvent proof and it performs well on cheap paper. And then I have a bottle of Zhivago, which is like a green black thing. I didn't think I would love it as much as I did, but then it passed my sample test, which is if I am sad when I finish the sample and want more, then I buy a bottle, which is what happened with Zhivago. Also and I wasn't expecting that. Also have a bottle of Noodler's Violet. It's one of my favorite purples. It like fits, like it's the shade of purple I was looking for. And it's got real good flow. And just behaves well. Love that one. What's this fucking... The NFL is trying to tamp down on the fierce rivalry. They're like, no, stop the advert wars. So yeah, this definitely doesn't have the shading that Black Swan and Australian Roses does. It's still got some shading, but it's not like the other one, which I mean makes sense based on the swab. But it's just a nice color. It looks a little, it's a little bit like almost dried bloodish, like more on the cream paper than I think it would be on a white paper. But that happens with cream paper. Cream paper sometimes does weird things, especially to warm colors. Aqua. Hello. We have a burb. We have a burb that pooped. I heard you poop. Where is it? Oh, there it is. It's a little poop. It's a little poop. You say hi to the camera? It's an Akiwa. It's an Akiwa. Aqua needs to go in her cone of shame, but I haven't had a chance to do it with all my personal health issues, so she gets a little bit of freedom. What, Akiwa? What? Do you want to go in your cage? Do you want to eat some dinners? She was sleeping in my blanket, so I'm going to put her in her cage so she can eat some foods. Because it is cold as balls today, as I expect it is across most of North America for most of you. It's not that cold compared to a lot of you, but for Atlanta, it's in the 20s, which it doesn't get below freezing very often here. And my apartment is built for warm weather and does not keep heat in very well. So it's chilly in my apartment, and so I have a big fluffy blanket on my bed to sleep with, as one does. And Aqua has decided, unless it really should be her blanket to sleep in, because it is very fluffy. So that's what she was doing. She was being warm and chilling in the blanket. So anyway, this clean zone thing, back to the NFL advertising, apparently this is how Pepsi even got their foot in the door to do an advertisements around the stadium in the first place, is that the NFL specifically created a clean zone around the stadium where only the NFL and its sponsors could put up new advertising. Old advertising stayed there. So this is how Pepsi is able to actually put up ads in Atlanta. Like, in downtown Atlanta, blocks away from Coke's world headquarters. 'Cause Coke's world headquarters is in Atlanta. Like, in downtown Atlanta, blocks away from Coke's world headquarters. 'Cause Coke's world headquarters is in Atlanta. Like, in downtown Atlanta, blocks away from Coke's world headquarters. 'Cause Coke's world headquarters is in Atlanta. Like, in downtown Atlanta, blocks away from Coke's world headquarters. 'Cause Coke's world headquarters is in Atlanta. Like, in downtown Atlanta, blocks away from Coke's world headquarters. 'Cause Coke's world headquarters is in Atlanta. Like, in downtown Atlanta, blocks away from Coke's world headquarters. 'Cause Coke's world headquarters is in Atlanta. Like, in downtown Atlanta, blocks away from Coke's world headquarters. 'Cause Coke's world headquarters is in Atlanta. Like, in do Oh my god, Coke's headquarters is inside the zone. Coke can't put advertising for its own products on its own damn property because of the clean zone. Oh my god. So so Pepsi probably has ads literally across the street from Coca-Cola's world headquarters. That is amazing. And the world of Coke too is inside the zone. This is so funny. Oh my god, Pepsi took out a multi-story sign across from World of Coke. That's just, oh my god. This is just, like, amazing. Yeah, huh. I really like this ink in the swab, but it is being mucho meh on actual papers, which is surprising. Because it's gorgeous here, like absolutely astounding. And then it's just being meh. This is why writing samples are good. And the performance has been fine. Like I said, it's been just like standard performance, not particularly wet, not particularly dry, just like normal flow ink. Yeah, that is way less exciting as like an ink as like in writing than it is in that swab. Go figure. And it's like the same color. It's not like the swab is lying about the color. It's apparently I just prefer how it looks as a giant blob of ink. Like as a giant puddle of ink on a page. Like if it was like a paint or something rather than like a writing ink. Which, that happens. Let's see how it does on the shitty paper. Noodlers can have some really good performance and really terrible performance. It just like runs the gamut. So we'll see how this goes. Oh, Jesus. Wow. One of the ads, it says, Pepsi in Atlanta. How refreshing. Like, just the shade of it all. Like, oh my God, this is amazing. Wait, someone lives downtown? There are condos downtown? No one lives in downtown Atlanta. It's all businesses. Tapping the wrong end. Okay, so let's see what the damage is on the backside. Feathering really isn't existing in the dry and regular pens. Some feathering in the wet pen, but not as bad as it normally is. Okay, looks pretty standard on the reverse side. So, again, usable. In a wet and dry pen, there's clearly a little bits of bleed through spots, but this is shitty paper. You can definitely write on the back with these two, with the the dry and regular one, and still be able to read what you wrote on the back and like read it on both sides. But yeah. Okay. So that basically means we're pretty much done here. I'm going to fold my notebooks over and put them back in the stack. I have my little storage pile over here that you can't see, but it's there. Okay. Now this is very exciting, listening to me move stuff off screen. And then I gotta empty this. Okay. And then I guess quick announcement update as to if Monday ink reviews will continue to be on Mondays. As far as I know, it's looking like they will actually stay on Mondays. My work schedule, so I work as a private tutor, and I thought I was switching from a Saturday to Wednesday schedule in terms of work week. I was previously doing a Wednesday through Sunday schedule. So my weekends were Monday, Tuesday, and I thought they were switching to Thursday, Friday. And it looks like I'm still keeping Mondays open, like in case any student wants to meet then. But the student that I was going to be meeting Monday evenings, is looking like they want maybe earlier on Tuesdays or like on Sundays. So I'm just gonna keep ink reviews on Mondays until further notice, because other shit keeps popping up on Thursdays, and so that's not a reliable day, but Monday has continued to be a reliable day. So we're just, like I said, it's just gonna keep being Monday ink reviews. But yeah, so thanks for joining me. I'm gonna go clean these pens now. So yeah, thanks for joining me for yet another Monday ink review, and I will see you next week. Bye.